Hello, lovely beings. I'm JJ Rose, and let's talk about spiritual protection. So, one of the first things that it is important to do is to make sure that you are clearing yourself. And there's several ways that you can do that, and obviously, I'm just going to throw out a lot of the different ways that I use for myself, and if they resonate with you, great. So, typically what I'll do to clear myself is I call it a light shower. I can do it either in meditation or just kind of sitting there in thought. Sometimes I do it while I'm actually in the actual shower, where I see universal creative light coming down all over me and literally just clearing myself out. And I'm clearing out all my levels, my 7 levels below, my 77 levels above, and my mind, body, spirit, and aura, all of them cleared out by this wonderful, beautiful white light. And I'm also asking that any energy that is not mine and any energy that no longer serves me is removed from my being. And that is how I start clearing myself. Now then, from there, I'll usually check in and see if I have any cords. Now, cords are energy lines between you and anyone else basically you've made a connection with. It could be the person you met at the grocery store for 10, 15 minutes. It could be, your best friend. It could be a parent. We have cords between many people. And sometimes when you check in with the cords, you'll start to notice some of those cords feel a little sick, meaning it's not a reciprocated energy balance between the two of you. For instance, energy vampires, these are people who will just suck you dry if you let them. Those usually need to be clipped, and or if you're done with the person, the cords need to be cut, and then you want to make sure that you're cauterizing the wound on yourself so that it doesn't grow back. Think of it almost like a plant, like an invasive plant where the roots get in. Dandelions are a great one. You can just clip off the top of the plant, but if you don't get the root, it's just going to grow right on back. So with cords that are very sick, meaning you've had usually like a long negative relationship with this person, those are cords that you really want to pull. And sometimes when you pull them, there is a pop. I've actually had that before on one person. It was an audible pop. And then you want to cauterize the wound with just healing love and kind of like healing love fire, and make sure that it does not grow back again. Again, that's only when you are done with the person. You do not want to create that cord again. If it's someone that, okay, you're checking in, you still like this person, but they're siphoning off a little bit more of you than they should be, you can clip the cord, meaning you kind of just envision clipping the middle of it so that they're not taking so much, and just hold that until you're ready to have a conversation with them and or just regulate the energy pattern between the two of you. Now, I do advise that that people feel when these cords are cut or clipped. So even if the person is not spiritual or what you would call awake or understanding of anything like this, people feel energy. This is why sometimes you're walking and you just know, go to the other side of the street, something's wrong with that person. We feel that instinctually. And I personally had a case where I was clipping a cord, and within seconds of me clipping the cord, the person ended up calling me. And this person did not call me. Normally, it was very rare that I got a telephone call. And I just started laughing like, wow, they felt that very quickly. And that's not just me. I've had other people that I've seen that have done the same thing. So be kind if it's someone that, they're not doing it on purpose. You might want to clip that cord just to kind of even out the siphoning of energy that they're doing, or have a conversation with them and discuss it. And that can lead to a really wonderful conversation. Salt. I recommend across the board for anybody and everybody, put a plate of salt under your bed where your head would lie. This will help you while you're sleeping to really have something to help you take out the negativity of the day and have it go somewhere constructive. That's what salt does. It removes negativity. While you're sleeping, you're really restful. And if you want to wake up feeling really refreshed, the best way is to put a plate of salt under the head of your bed while you sleep. If that's not feasible, I know some people have pets that I've heard, or they just don't have it under the bed. You can put salt in a paper bag. I don't recommend plastic. Paper's better. Put salt in a paper bag and place it in between the mattress and the floor, or the mattress and the box spring. That way the animals won't get at it, but you're still getting the same effects. Thoughts are things. So whenever we have thoughts about other people or even ourselves, we create little energy bubbles, and those bubbles stick. And especially if it's something like, let's say you're hyper fixated on, and or something that you're not so happy about within your own body and you think about it a lot, usually bubbles will end up gathering in that area. So while you're in the shower, take a salt scrub. If you don't want to buy one, you can make one very easily. Salt, sugar, little olive oil, sometimes some lemon. If you are on the herb spectrum of things, then you'll know there's certain herbs you want to put in there just to kind of help you with what you're doing. And scrub yourself down with it. And as you're scrubbing, ask that any of those negative thought bubbles that either you or someone else have put on your body are removed. That also will really, really help you to feel better. Now, this is my big one, and I call it Bubble Up Buttercup. And it's kind of a cute little thing that I say to my friends, bubble up, buttercup. And it's just kind of a cute little reminder that when we're going to go be around people or be in a situation where we're going to be exposed to other people and or spiritual energy, you want to make sure that you have a nice bubble intact. So here's what a bubble is. It is an energetic boundary of what you will or will not allow in to yourself. And it also is a barrier of protection so that things can't get in without you knowing about them. They have to knock on the door first, basically. So when I do my bubbles, I actually do a triple bubble. And feel free to make this your own. Obviously, if it doesn't resonate with you, don't do it. But this is what I do. The first bubble I make is a blue bubble. And I see the blue energy in my core, and then I basically expound it out into about 3 to 6 inches from my body. And it is a beautiful blue, and this is an earth bubble. This prevents me from earth energies, mainly human energies on earth. So this basically helps me because I am a sensitive and an empath. It helps me so that I'm not feeling everyone's everything and either thinking that I'm going insane or having an emotional breakdown depending on where I'm at. So I can still feel things. It's just I'm not feeling them as direct as if I'm not bubbled. So they basically hit against the bubble, and I can say, okay, that person's feeling this way, or that's that way, or this is the general feeling of the place, but it's not entering my body and I'm not taking it on. The next bubble I do is a white light bubble. And this bubble, again, I grow in my core, push it out about a foot from my body, and it sits outside of the blue bubble. And what this white bubble does is it protects me from spiritual energies. Now, this will protect me from any negative entities, energies, any spiritual energy that's trying to come at me or just maybe in the space. I do work with paranormal groups, and during investigations, sometimes I'm going to places that have a lot of energy, and especially spiritual energy, so I need to be protected from that. Again, I can feel this stuff coming at me, and it's kind of knocking or tapping, but it's not getting in. So I'm not leaving with a whole bunch of attachments. It's kind of like a Teflon bubble, right? Like it hits against and then it just slides right off. if Teflon really worked as wonderful as it should. Lastly, I do a gold bubble. And this bubble is a little bit different. So I see this bubble as this light gold color, and it's like a circle with a whole lot of triangles coming out of it. And what this bubble does is when I put it in place, I put it about 3 feet from my body. And this helps protect me from universal energy. Now, up until about 6 years ago, I only needed the 2 bubbles. As about 6 years ago, I now need the 3. The reason why, there's a lot more universal energy, and it is now more affecting our planet and us on this planet, and therefore I need to be protected from it. Obviously, there are things outside of our planet that are going on, and when things are happening out there, sometimes we get a little blowback, especially if you are sensitive. Now, the next step is you want to bubble your home or where you live. Now, if you live in a place with multiple other people, it might be a little hard to bubble the entire house, so you might be able to only do just your room. And or if you are like an elder in the home, you can do it so that you can really feel what the younger folks are bringing in and out of the house. If the house is yours and it's just like you and 1 or 2 other people, and you're very connected to them and you know their energy and you're okay with it, then you can bubble the entire house. Now, here's a little story about bubbling your home. So I personally bubble out to my property lines all the way around, and I go above the home and under the home as well, because things move around. So in this one situation, I lived in a duplex, and the unit next to me was empty, and the landlord had told me, hey, it's going to be empty for a couple months. Can you just kind of, keep watch on it, make sure no one's back there that shouldn't be. And of course, so I set my bubble around the property and included the empty unit. Well, the landlord had called me and told me, hey, we got new tenants coming. They're going to move in on the 1st. I thought, great, I'll deal with that on the 1st. Well, on the 27th of the month, I leave the house thinking, no one's supposed to be here. My bubble's set. I'm connected with my bubble. So if anyone tries to enter my property, I'm going to feel it. So I go to a store, and luckily I was with a person who understands me and I can talk openly to about this stuff. So we're at the store, and I'm getting a whole bunch of stuff. I was on an art store, so you could tell how much stuff I probably had because I love crafty stuff. And so I had all this stuff. I probably had like 22 items that I had spent an hour, looking all over the store for. And I'm in this line of like 40 people waiting. And all of a sudden, I get this huge hit that someone's in my home. And someone's like in my home, not just like they walked up to the door, like they are in my home. And I freak out. I literally put everything down. I said, that's it. We got to go now. And we race back to my house, which was 15 miles away. And we race back to my house. And as I pull up to my house, expecting I'm going to see, these robbers or vandals or whoever's in my home, there's a moving truck outside. And the new neighbors are moving in. And I'm standing there just kind of in shock. And they come over and they say, oh, hi, sorry, we were supposed to move in on the 1st, but the landlord actually gave us the keys early because it was easier for us to move today versus on the 1st. Well, obviously, I am thrilled that no one's breaking into my home, but also very sad about all those items that I left at the store that I now have to go back and hope that someone didn't put my little cart away. So when you bubble your home, you are basically tethering the bubble of the home to you so that you can feel what is going on. So for instance, this is great if you're a parent and you have, kids that are staying at home. If you let them stay home alone, you usually will get like a little hit if the kids are trying to leave the house or if someone's trying to come into the home, things like that. But it basically is giving you recognition of what's happening in that space. So again, if you live in a place with multiple other people and you're not used to them, they might have like a lot of different friends come in and out or different family coming in and out. That could get a little hectic on the nerves if you're setting a bubble over the entire house with all that activity. But really, really great, again, if it's just, a couple of you and you're pretty used to what's going on, and things for the most part are on a routine. Now, with this bubble, I set up the intent that nothing can enter my property space that has bad intentions, and that if anything somehow is able to get through my bubble, which it rarely does, but in cases it can, that the closer they get to the door, the more and more they don't want to be there. So I actually had one instance where I had set this up and I was taking a nap, and I had interesting neighbors at the time, I'll put it that way. And I hear someone ringing my doorbell, like incessantly ringing my doorbell, like not like, FedEx would do or UPS, just, one or two times. This was like someone wanted my attention and wanted it now. So I get up and I look and I see these teenage boys, and they keep backing away from the door, and they look very disoriented, and for whatever reason, like, they look like they're confused why they're there, and I'm obviously extremely confused why they're there. And finally open the door a crack, and I go, who are you? What do you want? And they ask for whoever my interesting neighbor was at the time. And I said, not here. Don't know who you're talking about. And these boys literally ran from my house. And the minute they got onto the sidewalk, you could see like this weird look of relief flow over their faces. Like they were confused why they felt so weird. And, I don't have any weird insignia outside of my house or anything that anyone would look at and be scared of. But it was interesting to see how, young and completely non-energy understanding they were, that they felt it. Now, if you drive in a car or you have a car, you can bubble your car as well. I typically do this when I'm going to be out driving, especially, after the pandemic, when people finally started driving again. I noticed people were driving pretty erratically. So for me, I bubble my car, and what I normally realize what happens is people don't want to be next to me. There's the normal flow of traffic where everyone's kind of next to each other, just kind of going. I will actually notice that everyone's either in front of me or behind me, and they give me a lot of space. They are not on the sides of me. And when they are on the sides of me, they are either trying to be slower or faster than I am in order to get kind of away from me. And again, this is all energy bubbling, and it's just to keep my car safe and to make sure, people aren't running into me and doing silly stuff as people do out there. Well, when you've done the personal clearing, you've cleared yourself, you've set up your modes of protection for yourself, you set up your mode of protection for your home or for your car. You can even do it if you work in an office or a cubicle, kind of set up a little bubble over your set area. That will help you so that, especially if you are an empath or a sensitive, that you're not taking on everyone's everything. And there are so many more empaths and sensitives in this world than even I actually thought. And with so many people waking up, they're becoming more and more attuned to it. And if you're working in an environment where you're around a lot of other people, these bubbles will actually help you not be so drained at the end of the day. I know I have one friend in particular, and we discuss it almost every time I see her. And she'll say, oh my God, I forget to put my bubbles up, and I go to work and I come home and I literally have to take a nap first thing. And then I'm up for a couple, an hour or so to eat. And then I'm in bed for like 10 hours. And we always laugh and say, remember to bubble. And then you'll actually get some time after work instead of being that worn out. Now, after you've done your personal clearing, you've set up your bubble, you bubbled your house, you bubbled your place, you've cleared yourself, you've got your salt plate under the bed, and goodness, you've done all the good stuff, right? If you are feeling affected at all by anything negative, if if you're feeling like there's a presence, or maybe there has been presences, or there are things showing themselves, or maybe you're not feeling so great when you wake up and you're having weird dreams, here are a couple extra protection measures that you can do. One is you can have a religious book open in the room that's affected. Obviously, if you're religious, it's going to be the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, whatever modality of religious book in your room that you want to have open. Doesn't matter what page. I personally go just with spirit and let the book open on its own. And usually when I read the verses in there, it will kind of explain to me what's going on and give me like an added layer so that I understand what I'm dealing with. Sometimes I had one person who wasn't religious at all, and they just had this book of really beautiful art, and they would open that, and for whatever reason, they felt better. So that's fine. Whatever your totem is, whatever book you want to use, go ahead and do that. If you believe in holy water, or if you believe in blessed water, in some cases there's sage water, Palo Santo water, there's also gold water. Different spirit shops I know and places online usually will carry these. If you're not able to actually like burn sage or Palo Santo, then you want to go ahead and use one of these sprays. There's actually one place that I will put in the bio once I get her website, but she makes a really great medium clear out spray. So it kind of clears out any unwanted spirits hanging around if you're inclined to have people who have passed away around you, making it cold in the house. And that will help clear those up. Now, if you're going to burn sage, if you're going to burn Palo Santo, if you're going to burn anything in order to clear or cleanse the space, please have a window or a door open. I can't tell you how many times I have heard people live in apartments where they're not able to open the windows, and they've done some kind of smoke clearing ritual and they forget to open anything up. And basically all it's doing is just running around the house. And usually that's when, things will break. So open a door, open a window. If you're in a place where you're not able to actually burn something, that's what these sprays are great for, so that you can actually have something that you can spritz in the air, but you're not going to get all the smoke. And or if you don't want the smoke in your house, which I totally understand, not everyone loves the smells, then the sprays are great. Now, obviously we all have protective amulets and or different stones carry protective qualities. I personally recommend black tourmaline, citrine, but if they're religious things for you, like, the cross or the Star of David, if one of those makes you feel better, wear it. Absolutely. Why not? And literally as I'm speaking to you, I have black tourmaline and a coffin nail on me right now for spiritual protection, because I've had to record this 5 actual times because I kept going into weird coughing fits for absolutely no reason. And I'm just going to speak on it. I've had to record a lot of these episodes multiple times because I know that there are negative spirits that do not want me putting out good information to fight fear. Now, if you're in the midst of an event occurring, so for instance, there's an apparition, or you're seeing something, you're feeling something, you woke up from a bad dream, etc. Obviously, there's prayers, chants, spell work, whatever it is that you believe in, whatever it is that you would do in that situation. I couldn't even get words out. I was so upset about what was going on. The prayer that I got out was help. And that was it. And it was someone stepped in and helped take over and clear out, which was great. And I'm very thankful for. But it doesn't always have to be super elaborate. I have had in the past where I've had people who have actually been seeing something repeatedly and they're very scared of it. For them, they were devout Catholics. I had them put on Gregorian chants, which were free on YouTube. And so I had them just literally play that for an hour just to feel better in the space, because that brings in light for them. If you have a song that makes you feel really good, put that on. For instance, I love Florence and the Machine, the song Shake It Off. And I think that song for me just really gets my energy up, and it really reminds me just like clear out, get that away from me, get it off. Now, one little kind of warning, I guess I would call it, use what you believe in. Please do not start calling in entities or asking for help of entities or gods or beings that you don't know anything about. This is really, really important because there are some deities and entities that have a price. And if you're asking them for help, they require or request a certain price. So know what you're working with before you just blatantly start calling on, anybody and everybody for help. Now, obviously, if you want to go to the Most High, call on God, Creator, Spirit, Universe, whatever word you have for it, that's what you want to call on. See the white light, that will usually help. But know what you're working with before you just willy-nilly start asking different deities for help. And I say that with an abundance of caution because I've actually seen people do it before and they had consequences. And I mean, obviously it's not like they died, but they were forced to pony up and to pay up because they started working with deities that had clear prices that they wanted. And when they didn't want to pay up, all of a sudden, it caused more of a ruckus than it was worth. Now, this is going to sound like I'm being motherly, but clean your house. So while you're physically cleaning your home, imagine that you are cleaning and cleansing negative energy. You are clearing and cleansing that which no longer serves you. Get that stuff out, get the good energy moving, and visualize that while you're doing that actual cleaning. I personally love vacuuming. And if you've listened to my episode on entities, you'll know I have my beloved little noggies that go around and they just, like little anteaters, eat up all the negative energy bubbles. That's their job. They're not everywhere, but when I get the chance that they get to come in, I love just vacuuming, like I'm a little noggy. And I also love my vacuum because it's cordless and that just makes me happy. And now you know that I like to clean a lot. But when you're cleaning the house, put that extra oomph in it. When you're making your tea or your coffee in the morning, put that added, like, oh, this is going to make me feel good and I'm going to have a great day. Like, put a positive intent in whatever it is that you're doing, especially if it's for your home or your body. This is why people usually pray before they eat and give thanks for the food, because you're imbuing it with an intent. All right, so let's say you've done all the things that I've talked about, and yet you're still having something try and get in or something try and present itself, either in your home or in your space, etc. There's a couple things you can do. So obviously, if you're in a position where you can speak out loud, and no one's going to think that you've lost it, then you can just take command and speak to it and say, get out, and have that force behind it. Don't get out. No, it's not a question. It is a command. Get out. And I have done that several times with things that have tried to weasel their way into my home. The next one is what I have lovingly called the Care Bear stare. Now, depending on your age, you might have no clue what a Care Bear is, but they were these adorable little bears that basically in their belly, they all had a special thing, and they would get together and they would Care Bear stare, where they would stand in a line and this white light would shoot out of their bellies towards whatever darkness or whatever negative thing that they wanted to keep away or get out. Well, you can do this. You personally can do the Care Bear stare. So from your core, you are going to see light coming in through the top of your head down to your core. And it is literally, you're going to project it out. Like you're one of those big old movie lights that they used to have for attractions back in the day when they would put up those huge white lights that you could see in the sky at night. You're basically doing that, almost like a bright old flashlight coming out of your belly, directed at whatever this is. Now, if it's an entity, if it's an apparition, etc., go ahead and do it. If it is a person, let's say you were in a situation where you have a human being just foisting negativity on you, or you're in fear that they are going to do something to you, you can Care Bear stare at them and send this energy. And I am telling you, they will either be stunned and stop, or they will stutter step a bit, which will allow you a little time to get out of the situation. I hope and pray that none of you are in any type of situation that you are physically worried about your physical being. But if you are, yes, energy is real and it can affect. I actually taught an energy martial arts class at one point about how to defend yourself with energy, and just the slightest little martial arts as well, but how to mainly do it with energy so that you can protect and defend yourself. And the majority of the people in my class were 75 years old and older. So it wasn't like I was teaching it to a bunch of teeny boppers, which I actually wish there were a couple more of those. But it was interesting because all of these elder people who were in the class, they all wanted it because they were afraid of getting, like their purse snatched or their cell phone robbed when they were out and about. They're excited about traveling. And so the majority of the class was just teaching them defensive ways to energetically project out so that no one would mess with them, or that anyone with the intent of messing with them would suddenly get their idea changed real quick, which again, with your bubbling, can also do. So if you're putting on a protective bubble, like let's say you're going to walk through kind of a scary part of town and it's at night and you're a little freaked out, you're going to be by yourself, you're going to bubble up and you're going to put out there the intention that no one's going to mess with you. I've done it where no one can see me, and literally people have walked right by me when I'm standing, in light, and it's almost like they couldn't see me. And I'm not saying like I was invisible. It was energetically, it didn't even register with them that there was someone standing there. Because you know how you can like feel if someone's looking at you, or you can kind of feel if there's someone standing there. Yeah. So you can do things like that with your energy and with your bubble. And so knowing this, again, I want to help remove fear. I want to have all of you understand that energy is just more than love and light and hope. I mean, this has huge things that you can do with your life so that you're empowered. You're taking your power back. Nothing is getting in your house. Nothing is getting in your being without you knowing about it and allowing it. Now, if you've allowed it and you need to get rid of, that's why I went through all the different ways to clear yourself. But from here on out, if you're implementing all of these, nothing is getting in within your psyche, within your home, within you that you are not allowing in. And if you have friends or family that are awesome and cool and that are into doing a little experiment with you, start putting your bubbles up and asking them if they can feel them. That's actually a pretty cool way for you to practice with somebody else. What does someone else's bubble feel like? What does someone's aura feel like? And see if they can pull in their bubbles and push out, as well as with their auras as well, so that you can kind of experience what that feels like. And then you become a little bit more aware. And with that awareness, not only are you setting your personal boundaries, but you're also going to see and respect other people's personal boundaries as well. And I think overall, if we're all respecting each other's boundaries, it's just going to be a bigger and better world. So on that, that's pretty much all I've got on this subject. If you guys have any questions, you know how to reach me. Otherwise, have a brilliant day and go get 'em, Tiger.